Hey everyone, this is Elias from RevMatch Media, and today we're going to be taking a look at the 2025 Mazda CX-70 plug-in hybrid. Now, if you're wanting a Miata but ended up having a family, this is the way you're going to want to go. So let's go ahead and get started. We take a look at the front, and this thing is pissed off. It really does. It looks like it has an angry face, and I love it. It's big, it's very in your face, it's not super angular, it has more of a rounded off muscular shape, which I like. That's kind of Mazda's design of, it looks like it was, you know, shaped out of a clay model, which was kind of that classic feel that we get where it's just really hands-on design. So I am loving this front end because, again, that angry face just looks so good. Now the other thing is the color, the melting copper metallic. This thing looks awesome. Thank you, sun, for arriving at the right time, because it looks great when the sun hits it or when a cloud covers the sun. It has such a rich color, and it's kind of like a bronze. So yeah, it looks like copper, but it has a bronze. It has kind of a pinkish, light blue, light purple actually color to it. It just looks really good, and everyone seems to like it because everyone kept staring at us when we were driving along in it, because the color is just that stand out. It stands out so much, but loving that. We take a look at the headlights, and these things are really nice. They're very tiny, but man, they are very powerful at getting light output. I do like the black housing that we get along with the chrome housing as well. We have the big Mazda badge. We have the front facing camera for the 360-degree system, which is incredible. Yeah, this is starting to get up there with some of my favorite cameras, and we'll take a look at why. One thing though, yes, we do have opening here, which is really closed off plastic, but it does travel through the air on the side. The only thing I don't like is I wish we had fog lights. Yeah, so unfortunately this one doesn't have the fog lights. We do have the parking sensor in the front. Now down here we have a front lip, but yeah, this thing looks incredible. I'm loving this front end. So let's go ahead and see what we have inside of this massive hood. We get under the hood and we have the 2.5 liter eSkyActiv 4-cylinder plug-in hybrid engine, and it is cranking out a combined 323 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. It is connected to the 8-speed automatic and then to the iActive all-wheel drive. Now, a couple of things. Let's start with the engine. So we have a 4-cylinder, we have a hybrid system in this as well, and it's a plug-in system, which I've always said it's the best system because you get the best of both worlds. If you don't want to go to the gas station to fill up, you can just plug in and you get some power to it. That will attribute to 25 miles in the CX-70. Now, if you don't want to have the plug-in hybrid, we have the inline-6 turbo with a mild hybrid system in that. But honestly though, I think I like, granted I haven't driven that one, but I like the plug-in aspect of it because yeah, once you're done with the 25, when you get home, just plug it in and you get to charge it. Even though I forgot today, plus it was raining, so we're not gonna have the full power, but it's still really quick. So loving that. The transmission was fine, no issues with shifting. You know, it found the right gear when you wanted it to. It behaved, no weird shifting or anything like that. The all-wheel drive system, I love it because it's a rear bias and it feels rear biased as well. It doesn't feel, especially in corners, you're not going to be losing power to the front or a little bit of understeer that you can sometimes get with these all-wheel drive systems that are more front wheel drive biased. It basically waits till the front loses traction to kick it to the rear. No, this is the opposite. We're kicking it to the rear first and then to the front when we need to. Now, speaking about in the corners and power distribution and all that fun, you know, handling for a big SUV like this that weighs 5,100 pounds. Yeah, that's insane for a big vehicle like this. 5198 is the exact curb weight. But this thing can really get moving in the turns because it has kinematic posture control. Yes, you remember that thing in the Miata that I reviewed? And if you didn't, go ahead and watch that in the latest Miata review that I had. In the corners, if you're turning left, it will brake slightly the inner rear tire to get the body roll to a minimum. And you feel it significantly more here than you do in the Miata, which is why I said if you're needing a Miata in your life, because everyone does, but you decided to have a family and you gotta, you know, lug around those little ones, this is the way to go. Yeah, I said that with the CX-9, I believe. It was like a Miata. No, this is way better than the CX-9 was because of that handling, that rear bias, you know, I-active all-wheel drive. It is incredible. So it just gets this thing rotated, but super planted. That is the big thing. I was like, okay, cool. We're going to take a really sharp turn. And I was waiting for the body roll. It never happened. It never happened because of that kinematic posture control. And I wouldn't be surprised if it makes it down the line, because all it really is software programming, where it just uses the existing sensors and it just applies the brake slightly. So loving this thing. It is just such a great power plant. Now, one cool thing about this, it's kind of a gimmick, but it's kind of cool, is you can go ahead and just move these little guys there, and you have a little plastic thing here where you can go ahead and hook it, and now you have access to your 4-cylinder, which looks super tiny in here because it has the space for a 6-cylinder. Now, the other thing that is pretty surprising is how much thrown back the engine is. So it definitely is going to give you a better weight distribution and better performance because the weight is more centered instead of being out to the edges. In fact, I think it looks like it's actually further back than the front wheels. Yeah, really cool. Speaking about front wheels, let's go ahead and take a look at those wheels and tires. We get down to the wheel and tire package, and we have a big 21-inch wheel, and it is wrapped in the 275/45 Toyo Tires Open Country A50 all-season tire. Now, a couple of things with this. Yeah, the wheel on paper, I saw 21-inch, and I'm like, great, these wheels are getting massive for no reason. But then you kind of look at the size of this, and 21-inch is actually a really good size. And we'll see it more when we get to the side profile. And it's not a bad size because we still have a good sidewall to this tire. So we still have a good amount of flex should we hit a bump or something like that. And it does its job. As far as getting, you know, road absorption, noise, it's perfectly fine. You know, as far as grip, it's there. Even today that it was kind of slick, you know, when you don't have rain for some time and then you do, it gets really slick. No, not a problem. This thing handled it, especially with the all-wheel drive system. But yeah, it worked really well. Now, the suspension. Yes, it is going to be a little bit on the sportier side, so don't expect super cloud-like ride. That's why I said if you want a Miata and you want to feel the road, you're going to feel it a little bit more than you would in another competitor, say like the Genesis vehicles that are, you know, a little bit more on the softer side. But as far as the ride quality though, it's good. It's good, and the wheels look great. The tires perform excellent. And the brakes were also good, especially when we're needing to get this big guy stopped. Everything was really good. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we have on the side. We take a look at the side, and this thing is awesome. I love the design language of the side profile that feels like, you know, we're in a Roadster, where the design weight of it, so to speak, feels all the way to the back. So yeah, it just looks good. And that color looks even better. Love this thing. So definitely this is the way to go as far as the color for a CX-70. But we take a look at the front, and yeah, we have that nice big hood on there. We see a little bit of the headlight peeking there. We have the wheels, which, like I said, the 21-inch definitely, it's a big size, but it fits this SUV really nicely. And we still have a good sidewall again, so we're not going to sacrifice that. But we have the covers for the fenders here, which is in a plastic, and it is in that kind of flat black color, which looks fine. I think it frames it really well, which, you know, follows through to the bottom and then to the back there. We have the PHEV badging here for plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. So yeah, you can show that off a little bit. It looks great, a very classy touch to it. And I like the fact that it's in black. And with that being said, we do have black mirrors with the camera system underneath here, which you'll see why I like the way that they've used this camera system with a little bit of software work, in which I'll show you when we're inside. Then we have the black framing on here, which just looks really good. And yes, we have black handles that look really good. It stands out and it gives you that little bit of extra detail to it. Now, the line, it's very soft. It's a very soft design line, and that's what I was telling you about, that it's kind of has this, how can I say, it's almost like a magical human touch to it, and it just looks really good. The only super defined line, and it's not even that really defined, is this that we get right above here, and it just looks great. Love this side profile. It's big too. And we have the roof rails up here if you want to have additional toys there. Now this side we have the for the gas, and then on the other side on the passenger is going to be for the electric charge, for the plug-in part of it. But overall though, I love the way that this looks. And I have my key in my hand, in my pocket, so I'll go ahead and put my hand. It recognizes it. I can open up. Nice big doors, easy to get into as well. And we go ahead and close this off. We can go ahead and lock it right down there. And then we go to the back. There aren't any sensors. So you are having to touch the front, which you can program to only just be the front, but you can go ahead and open. And again, like I said, those are big doors to get into. So really loving that. Close that off and then lock. And then we can head to the back, which is one of my favorite things about this. We get to the back and this thing looks really good. So let's go ahead and get started on the top, and we have this spoiler that just kicks out a little bit. We have the third brake light up there. Now I will tell you, this rear glass is a little bit on the small side, and you'll definitely experience that when you're driving. Your rear view mirror is not gonna give you that much rear visibility. So yeah, that was one of the things I was kind of let down on. I wish we had a rear view camera mirror system, so that way we don't have to worry about that, and we can just, you know, have it use the camera instead up there. But yeah, other than that though, you know, we have the wiper here, easy cleanability there to help out with the very small visibility we have. Then we get to the taillights. Yes, this thing looks awesome. I love this design. We have kind of a transparent but kind of smoked design here. I am loving these little intricacies, and yeah, it kind of comes over a little bit there, but yeah, the taillights look really good. Love that design. Now, this is kind of where I'm like, I wish we had something different here. It doesn't look too bad, but we're kind of missing our exhaust. Yeah, so we are missing the exhaust in this, and I wish we had it, you know, to kind of liven it up a little bit in the rear. The other thing is, this one doesn't have the towing package. If you do get it, unfortunately, it can only do 3,500 pounds. Yeah, not quite enough for the Miata. We would have to really strip down the Miata and get a super lightweight trailer in order to tow it, because the Miata is about 22 to 2,500 pounds, and plus the trailer, yeah, we'd be really on the edge at 3,500. You do have the 5,000 pound option in the non-plug-in version, so that's probably what I would go, but I like the plug-in system. You know, I think that's the best system compared to just a standard hybrid or even just a full EV. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. But yeah, that's kind of the drawback though. But let's go ahead and see what we have in here. Now, when we're gonna go open up the back, there is an option to do it with a kick. Now, yes, I'm not a fan, usually not a fan of them because I'm really horrible at getting them to open, but this, I've had 100% success rate. So hopefully now that I'm filming, I won't mess up that success rate. And it was actually really helpful because when I took this out to Circuit of the Americas for a coverage of an event, I had all this camera gear in my hands, things like that. But yeah, you could see it opened up. Yeah, so still 100%. And when you get in here, it is massive. There is a ton of space in here for everything. Yeah, so I was going to actually sleep in this because it was a 2-day event, but I decided to only do one. But it would have been perfectly fine to just lower that, and there is enough length, so to speak, or depth, I guess you could say, for me to really sleep in here. Yeah, because again, this is based off the 3-row CX-90, but this is only the 2-row. I prefer this because we have more cargo space, which I like more cargo space over having more people sitting. But yeah, we have this massive space. We do have a bunch of hookups. So we do have some power over here, so we can plug in there. We have the AC button right in there to deliver 1500 watts. And then we have the seat. So yeah, we can do that and it will go down. So just a matter of pushing it a little bit more. I think there might be something in there, so that's probably why it didn't go down. But tons and tons of space. We have more plugs here for additional power, and then we have a 12-volt adapter there. Now the other thing though is we still kind of get the cup holders for the other CX-90, so it's still good because now you can kind of sit in here, put your cup in the cup holder and enjoy whatever you may be taking this out on an adventure for. And we do have some tie downs as well, which is really nice. But yeah, tons and tons of space. Now we open up down here, and we have a little bit of space. So we do have that little tray. We have some towing stuff there. But yeah, that's kind of what you get with this. Yeah, probably should put this back up. And I am loving this though. Tons and tons of space. Now, let's go ahead and see if we can keep my streak up. Yeah, awesome. And that was a godsend because I would get my tripod. My hands would be full with my tripod and my camera. And yeah, I was able to close it with no problem. We take a look at the front door, and yes, thankfully, Mazda still continues to deliver incredible interior materials, finishes, looks, colors, everything. It looks really good. I am loving this. So we get started on the top, and we have a harder plastic, but still has some give to it. And then we have kind of a carbon fiber pattern to this. Here we have a kind of a black anodized, like polished aluminum look to this. Yeah, it's really cool. It looks one way on the camera, but in real life it looks a little bit different. So think of it like a gunmetal brushed aluminum. Yeah, it looks really cool. Loving that. And then again, the red, which just looks so incredible. Love that. We have black pieces with the red stitching on there, which is really nice. We have our controls for the windows, no issues there, very comfortable, very easy to get to. We do have an area for a water bottle there and a little bit of an area for other stuff. Not too big though. That's the only thing I wish we had more space with this. Then we have the sound system. Now, unfortunately though, yeah, it doesn't look that good, but don't worry. Yeah, this Bose system, it's no joke. This thing sounds so good. It's incredible how good this Bose system is, and I'm not a big Bose fan, so yeah, I'm gonna have to shut my mouth with this because it's really good. But yeah, that's kind of what you get with the door. Oh yeah, I couldn't wait to show you guys this red interior. It just looks so good and it performs so well. It looks incredible. It's so soft. It is super comfortable. The adjustability is there. We do have the vented option. We do have the heated option. The only thing it's really missing is massage. Yeah, and it would be 100% perfect. And I can tell you that because I drove this thing for hundreds of miles in one day and was perfectly comfortable the whole time. So adjustability is really there, and yeah, no complaints about this. We take a look at the steering wheel, and yeah, it's awesome. It's pretty much your standard Mazda wheel. It is really nice size. Doesn't, even though we have a big SUV, you don't have a bus steering wheel like we do with some SUVs. So good size, super soft leather. So loving the finish that we get with that. And talking about finishes, yeah, really nice red stitching, or that really like red wine finish to it. So loving that. And then the controls here are pretty simple, very straightforward. We have volume up, volume down, next track, previous track, and that stuff. I haven't used these basically at all because I'll show you why, and when we get to the infotainment screen, why this is really not needed, because the controls are just so good in the center console. Then we have the cruise control, which I was able to use. Very good system. Nothing erratic, super calm, very predictable. It didn't freak out or anything like that when it saw a vehicle in front, or cut off someone that cut you off kind of thing, or it didn't accelerate or brake. It was a very good system. So loving that. The biggest thing with this is definitely the blind spot system, which we'll definitely take a look at. The only thing though is that you'll see when I was driving, the lane keep system was kind of freaking out, which is kind of weird, because where I was driving, you'll see that we don't really have a defined lane, which I think probably why it was freaking out. It is a little bit on the aggressive though when you are switching lanes without a turn signal, which is good. Use your turn signals. I did it once without turn signal, and yeah, it kind of reminded me, use your turn signal, people. But yeah, that's kind of what you get with the wheel. We take a look at the gauge cluster, and it's an all digital display, but it's kind of a letdown. So I'll let you know what I mean by that. So on the left hand side, we'll discuss it. On the left hand side, we have basically your pedal input when you are in normal mode. When you do switch the drive mode from normal or EV to sport, it is going to give you a more traditional tachometer, which would be nice to have either way. I kind of wish we had the tachometer as well as the, if you want to give us kind of the power / charging meter, put that just right inside there. There is, like, right inside here, there's so much space for activities right in there. But yeah, unfortunately it was one or the other. And if you're in sport mode, it's going to be switching gears significantly later in the RPM. So yeah, efficiency is gone, because obviously you want sports performance. But yeah, that's what you get with that. Then on the right hand side, we have basically both your gas tank and your charge for the plug-in hybrid battery system. And then we have the very small circle on the right, which is that thing right there. And it's kind of a letdown, because this is what you get. So you have that. Then you have your temperature gauges. You have the active status sense, so surrounding kind of things, compass off, and then we have back to MPGs kind of thing. But that is it. And the reason why I'm kind of let down with it is, look how tiny this thing is. Look how much space we have, room for activities, Mazda. Yeah, you see all that? Use all that, all this space that you could have used. And I don't know if I'm wrong, but I tried looking everywhere to try to change this and give me something else, maybe a map. I couldn't figure it out. So please, YouTube, please prove me that I am wrong and telling me that there is an option to change that centerpiece. And yeah, I'd be so much happier. But thankfully, we're stuck on something that was good, because like I said, the blind spot monitoring was great. It would kind of tell you when there's people to your blind spots, on your sides, in front of you, everywhere. This thing was incredible, especially for a vehicle that I'm constantly changing from vehicle to vehicle, big vehicles, small vehicles, medium, everything, super large, vehicles. So it was easy for me to make sure that my blind spots were clear when I was going to change lanes. I would almost give it as good of a rating as the Genesis system that uses the camera for the blind spots. That's how good this was. And then we get to this thing there, which you can barely see. It is the heads-up display right there. That little 0, that's how fast we're going right now because we're stopped. But when you have a map set up in your infotainment screen with the Apple Maps, it's going to tell you, your estimated time for arrival. It's going to tell you, when your next turn is. It's going to tell you your speed, everything. Your blind spots, that's where you could see it as well. So loving this heads-up display, very informative. Yeah, right now it's just calm because there's not much to it. But yeah, I kind of like this heads-up display and just wished we had that flexibility in the gauge cluster. We get over to the infotainment screen, and yes, I am loving this thing. It is so nice. It's nice and slim, so it's not too tall. So you can see my field of vision right in there. It's perfect. Not gonna obstruct any of your view. And yes, we have the wireless Apple CarPlay. It was great. It's running right now, but I had to plug in, which I'll tell you why in a little bit, but no issues with anything else. That Bose system, yeah, if you're a big Bring Me the Horizon fan, you're gonna want to crank it up in this. It was awesome to hear music in the Mazda CX-70. So loving that system. We come a little bit lower, and yes, we still have a continuation of that red wine, ox blood kind of finish to this. It looks really good. It feels really nice and soft as well. We come a little bit lower, and we have the AC climate control system here. Very simple, very straightforward. Literally, this could have not existed at all, and I'd be fine by just putting it in one setting, because that's literally all I did, and it did its job at making sure that everyone was nice and comfortable. But yeah, we have those options there. We have the heated option for the seats and the venting option there as well. So loving that. Then we come down to the wireless charger. And the reason why I said I needed to use the wireless charging with the cable, actually, to charge my phone with the cable, was because I could not get it to stick. So we'll go ahead and do the chuck test. So, is it charging? It is not. So it was charging before, so it will charge. The only thing though is after a while it starts to heat up, and I've taken it off the case as well. It will start to heat up, and because of the heat it actually stops charging. So yeah, not sure why though. It's kind of a letdown. It was working at first like really good, and then once you start charging it a little bit more and more, yeah, we're kind of coming across that. So unfortunately I did have to constantly be plugged in for better charging performance, so to speak. We come back, and here is where we have the My Drive modes. So we have that Sport, Normal, EV, and Off-Road. I do love this because we did have the option of staying in EV, and what that did was make sure that we used up the battery. Now, below the drive modes, we have this, which I am kind of angry at this button and the way that Mazda set this up. What this is the driving charge target. What that means is the car, or the engine, the gas engine, will work as a generator to charge the battery. Literally, this whole week, I was not aware what it was. I literally thought it was the charge, because when you do that, it says driving charge target. So it says set the target charge level for the high voltage battery. I thought this was when you plugged it in. So yeah, just heads up, that's for the engine to charge your battery. The reason why I'm a little angry at Mazda's design is because that should really be mixed in with the EV option or the My Drive option. And the reason why is because this turns off every single time, so it doesn't get saved. So you can't just always have it on, or it remembers the last time you had it last time you turned off the car, whether it was on or off. So yeah, this whole time I could have been using this to essentially charge that built-in battery as a generator. So yeah, I'm a little angry at this design choice because I don't think it was a good design choice. We should have mixed it in with this. So yeah, I'm gonna have to edit out those times that I said we couldn't use it as a generator. So yeah, I just looked at the manual and confirmed that's what it is. I don't blame myself. I'm not gonna take blame for it. I really think it's not a good design. I think it should have been mixed in with the MyDrive and essentially giving you an option of doing so in one of these. We come back to the shifter, and yeah, this is really nice. So I do like, it is a little bit on the unique side where it's not just straight down. So you do have to, you know, hold the button and move it over to the right and then back down. So yeah, that was kind of cool. Just a little bit of an additional thing. Unfortunately, you don't get a manual mode. So yeah, there's kind of that. But yeah, that was small little thing, but really cool. I like the experience that it gave us. Now we take a look at the camera button, and I am loving this because you come up here and yeah, we have a kind of a standard view of the front with the 360 on the side. And we do have a couple of views on the left hand side, so I'll switch them over so you can see there we have a super wide version of it, which is really good to have that visibility. And one of my favorites, yeah, this, because even though yes, I live in Texas and everything's usually bigger in Texas, not driveways. So it's always nice to make sure that we're on the edge that we need to be when we're parking, to basically let the other vehicle park as well. So loving the fact that we get those tire options there. Now let me go ahead and bring it back to the more normal mode. And the reason why I really like this system, if you take a look down here, it's saying get the circle or the joystick and move it to the right, because what that does is it mixes basically this front part. It just cuts it off, puts it here to zoom to a more zoomed in level, and now I can see basically my front tire area, which if we do that you can kind of see where the tires are. But that is really cool. I love that we have this flexibility with this. And then obviously, yeah, it goes back to that, but this is awesome. I am loving this. Really cool, Mazda. Good job with having this as a unique option that I haven't really seen other brands do. Now we come down here to essentially the control center. Loving this. The reason why I haven't really used the volume knob or the volume buttons on the steering wheel is because this little knob is incredible. So you literally spin it and obviously you get volume up, volume down. You push it down and it mutes. And then if you want to go to the next track, or you know what, I kind of missed that song, so I want to go back and start it over, yeah, all you got to do is push it to the right, to the left, or to the right, and it goes previous song or next song. This is why this little knob, you could remove the controls from the steering wheel and I could care less, because this thing is so good. So we have that, and then we have your favorites that you can program, and then we have the quick shortcuts to different things, which I love, because if I want to go to my maps, I can press there. If I want to go to my music, I press there. This joystick is awesome because you spin it and it's also like push left, push right, up, down, and so on, to really navigate the infotainment system. And yes, you do have the touch option on the infotainment system, but really this has just been so easy to use to navigate. And then we have the auto hold, which I've had to basically program every single time, which yeah, I wish we didn't have to. And then the parking brake there. We come back to the armrest, and yes, it's got that leather, black leather finish to it with the red stitching, which looks really good. You open it up and it is a split, but unfortunately it is really shallow, so there is not much space in this. So kind of a letdown. I was hoping for a little bit more space here, but yeah, it's not that deep. I really hope it were deep. But as far as comfortability, it's there. As you can see, my hand falls perfectly on that joystick, and then my volume knob there. Okay, I gotta start the back door at this. Look at that. Would you look at that? Literally almost 90-degree angle to open up, because that makes things a lot easier to essentially get in. But we take a look at the door and we can see the finishes, just amazing. It follows to the back, and the back gets a little bit of a surprise with the peasant blockers. So yes, we have that as an option, which is really good to have in a big vehicle like this that has really big windows, to make sure that, you know, we leave the peasantry out there while we enjoy these beautiful luxuries. But yeah, we have multiple bottle holders here. So yeah, we have that, loving the space that we get with this. I kind of wish the front got a little bit more, so I'm a little bit jealous of the people in the back. But we get to the back and there is beautiful seats. So again, we have that red finish to them, and yeah, they look really good. Loving this middle black stripe there, and we do have the heated option in the rear. Now, kiddo seat is in there. I wish it were a little bit better of a design, because I hate having to take these things off because they get lost, and yeah, but yeah, we get that, and it still looks good though. Love the red, and we have the center on there. We bring down the centerpiece, and we have the hidden cup holders that my kid likes to mention. And then we have their own climate system. So 3-zone climate, and they have their heated rear seat there, USB 2, two USB-C connections, and their own vent. But yeah, this thing is awesome. And then obviously if we want to put something in the back, or we want to put the seat down, yeah, there you go. You could see it sits flush with this. So like I said, I could have easily slept here, put my pillow here and enjoy, or put my feet here and my pillow back there. Loving the tons and tons of space that we get with the CX-70. And we can put this back, and yeah, you can see we can put it straight up, or we can have a little bit of a resting, leaning position in the back as well. So yeah, just because, you know, you're a passenger doesn't mean you have to be treated like a second row passenger. So we take the CX-70 for a drive, and I kind of messed up. So I messed up because I forgot to charge it overnight to get, well, not overnight, literally like 2 hours, hour and a half to 2 hours to fully charge it. And it was raining, so I didn't go outside. But that's kind of the problem we have with this. And let's talk about it. But first, I'll go ahead and switch over to EV mode. And we go away quietly. Yeah, I think that's the coolest thing about this, is we can literally just kind of drive, and it's super quiet. It's super quiet. So when I did take this out to Coda, I did leave at 3 o'clock in the morning from my house. So I didn't want to wake the neighbors up. I didn't want to wake my wife up. Yeah, even though I had woken her up trying to get ready, but different story. But it's really good at just going quietly. But we're gonna have to actually switch it over to normal mode. The ride, it's not gonna be the most comfortable. So don't think you're gonna be super plush with bumps, things like that. It is gonna be a little bit on the sportier side. I don't think it's really the 21-inch wheels. I think it has more to attribute with the fact that we do have a sportier suspension. I really just think that's kind of what we get with this, and I don't fault it. Okay, I'm literally in the lane. I'm on the road. We may have to turn that off if I can figure it out. But yeah, that was the big thing, that I was surprised at how sporty the suspension is, which is then not as surprising because the CX-50 had a really sporty suspension, which is kind of weird because as an off-roader, you want it to be softer. You want it to be, able to articulate a little bit more. So it's kind of really that feel. The ironic thing with that, though, is that the suspension in the Miata isn't really the stiffest. It's a little bit more forgiving, a little bit more swaying to things. So yeah, okay, that's really gonna get annoying. Not sure how to turn that off, but we'll leave it on because I don't want to be pressing too many things. But yeah, that's the crazy thing about this, is that it's a good ride. But again, don't expect super smooth, like cloud-like feel. which isn't too bad. Yeah, you can see when I'm hitting these little bumps, we're getting a little bit of jitter with the camera. But it's time for some fun. And that's when you go ahead and switch it over to sport mode, and we get my nice red tachometer. And yeah, we don't have a manual mode to switch the lever into, but we do have paddle shifters that switches it to manual mode. And let's go ahead and we'll just kind of keep it in drive to see what it does. But the crazy thing about this is it's fast. So that gas pedal, when you hit it kind of all the way, it goes. But then, you know how gas pedals have that little click? That's when this thing really goes. And it's crazy how much more of that little boost it gives us. And yeah, you accelerate, and it really just wants to go. Now, I'm not feeling as much acceleration as I was earlier because, again, we don't have that battery, that fully charged battery, but it's still fast. Even and the crazy thing about this is the kinematic posture control. It's in this. Yeah, that thing in the Miata that was a blast is that this big SUV that's almost 6,000 pounds feels like a Miata. It really does feel like a Miata. And you're not gonna feel it in a negative way or like, oh, it turned on. It just plants that rear tire, that rear inner tire down. And it's crazy how good and seamless it does. I was waiting for the body roll of this vehicle and it never happened. That's how crazy this ride is. That's how good this ride is. Yeah, I am really surprised by this SUV and how it's set up. So let's go ahead and we'll do the 3-point stop, but I have a feeling it's gonna be a little bit more than 3 stops because yeah, this is a big SUV. So just kind of get ready for that. And yeah. Actually, that's pretty good. Okay, so maybe I kind of take my word back because I think that was better than I thought. Yeah, that was actually really, really good. Impressive. Which actually doesn't impress me because I haven't had issues parking this thing. So yeah, good on you, Mazda. Now, I've gone ahead and set up my race box. So this is our telemetry for drag times as well as lap timer. So really nice to have it all in one small little package. And it's super easy to use. So if you're interested in one of these, check out the description. Well, I'll add my link and my affiliate code for maybe a little bit of a discount. So we've gone ahead and put it in sport mode. And yeah, we have it in sport mode. And let's go ahead and see what we get. We'll load up the transmission a little bit and it's wanting to move. Ready, go. So, okay, we have 0 to 30 in 2.69 seconds and 0 to 60 in 7.28 seconds. Now, the crazy thing about that is this thing feels way faster than that. And again, I could probably get numbers faster than that if I had the battery charge. The big thing with this though is the rear wheel biased all-wheel drive. So yeah, you could really feel that the rear is doing its job. It's kicking out. And we have some wet conditions today because it's been raining all day today. The brakes are good. You know, get this big guy stopped, get the power down. Yeah, it is really surprising how nimble this big SUV is. Yeah. It's just such a blast to drive. And the sound does sound a little pumped in, so just kind of be aware of that. I don't know if it is, but it's okay. It doesn't sound that great, but it definitely is a great experience of a vehicle. Yeah. This is crazy. But again, if you just want to be in normal mode and drive this normal, like an everyday civilized person, you can. And it's really good. It's super easy to drive. It's super comfortable. I drove it literally, you know, to and from Coda, from North Texas, and it was so easy to drive. Having all those safety things of checking my blind spots, being able to see that on my heads-up display, being able to see it on the gauge cluster, it literally was impossible to not know what was going on in your blind spots with this, which I love. One of my favorite things of like other brands is when you have little indicators on your heads-up display that there is someone in your blind spot. And it was really accurate as well, which was another thing, especially with the rain as well. I was surprised at how good it was even in the rain, because some of those systems start acting really wacky when there's a lot of rain, which is completely understandable, but this was actually really good. Yeah, this is fun. Only thing though, unfortunately, that towing capacity, I just wish we had the 5,000 pounds of towing capacity instead of the 3,500. But yeah, it's kind of what you get. Well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed my review of the Mazda CX-70. And remember, find the right gear. Let's switch it over to sport. See ya.